Intel, AMD and NVIDIA, all of them released PC components in 2024. Now, some of them were a disappointment launch, some of them were actually decent, and today we will find out which company had the best and worst PC component releases in 2024. I will be ranking these in a tier list from good to decent to disappointment. Then we have trash, and the last one is no one cares, because for some of these releases, actually no one cares. That being said, if you want to see the best CPUs and GPUs, you will find those down below in the video description with the latest prices and availability in your region. My name is Valentino. That being said, let's start. So we start with a hot one in the RTX 40 Super series. Now, I do think that these graphics cards are amazing actually, but the launch itself is decent. I wouldn't say it's a good launch because I think that this is what the 40 series was supposed to be. For example, the 4080 was supposed to be the 4080 Super, and the 4070 Ti was supposed to be the 4070 Ti Super. So it's not like they were making this brand new technology, they were just cleaning up their mistakes. So I think it's a decent launch anyway. The GPUs are amazing, but it's not a good launch just because of that. But don't get me wrong, if you get one of these graphics cards, you will be perfectly fine and you will be happy with your purchase depending on the resolution that you play and the games that you play. So overall, great graphics cards, just not an amazing launch. Then we have the Ryzen 5000 XT CPUs. Now this one is going in the no one cares. To be fair, most people do not care about these new CPUs. People are not buying them, and it's like they're just there, they're not great, they're not terrible. I mean, once again, no one cares. Then we have the Ryzen 9000 series. This is a pretty recent one. It's been controversial. In my opinion, it's been a disappointment. Now, these CPUs are great anyway, so if you buy, for example, a Ryzen 9 9950X because you're a content creator and you do gaming at the same time, that's an amazing CPU, one of the fastest ones in the entire market. But I mean, if you're going to buy, for example, a 9600X or a 9700X, you could easily buy a 7600X or a 7700X, which will provide basically the same level of performance at a cheaper price. So unless you're a content creator and you really need that difference for content creation, it doesn't make sense, because for gamers you can spend less and get faster performance, especially now that you can get the Ryzen 9800X 3D, which I will be talking about in just a moment. So just like the 40 Super series, I mean, these are not bad CPUs, but not ideal in terms of price or performance. So they are going into the disappointment section, in my opinion, because we were waiting for the CPUs for a long time, expecting some type of really nice performance gain, but we got basically the same CPUs at a bigger price. Now let's go with Intel in the Intel Core Ultra series, and don't let me get started with this one. I mean, these are not good CPUs for gaming, especially for the price. Now, if you're a content creator, the story is going to be completely different for you, so it really depends on your workloads. But I mean, you are paying the same price as the last gen Intel CPU for a slower level of gaming performance in some cases, so not ideal. I mean, to be fair to Intel, their focus was to lower that power draw and make these CPUs more efficient compared to the last generation, and they achieved that. So that's fine, but in my opinion, these are not good CPUs, especially for gamers. Once again, if you're a content creator, then the story is going to be completely different, and it might be a good option to buy one of these CPUs depending on your budget and your needs. But overall, I believe that this is a disappointment as well. I wouldn't put it on the trash tier just because it's not trash. I mean, if you buy one of these CPUs, they have really good levels of performance. It's just that when you compare it with last gen, I mean, the level of performance is just the same or even slower in some cases, which is mind-blowing. Now we have the most recent launch in the Ryzen 9000X 3D. This is from AMD, and in my opinion, this is the best launch in this entire list because it's actually the fastest CPU in the entire market. This is a really good CPU, and if you want the best of the best, let's say you have a 4090 or you want to buy the RTX 5090 that's coming out soon in 2025, then you will want to buy the fastest CPU for gaming in the market and pair it with the fastest GPU in the market. And considering that at the moment it's basically the same price as the last gen 7800X 3D, doesn't make sense to buy the 7800X 3D unless it's about $50 cheaper. So in my opinion, this is a really good CPU, and it was a good launch. It wasn't the greatest launch of all time. As you can see here, the max tier is good just because of that. So this Ryzen 9800X 3D is going into my good tier because it was objectively a good launch and it's the fastest CPU in the entire market. Then we have another good launch in my opinion, in the Ryzen 7 5700X3D. This is from the AM4 platform. So let's say you have a Ryzen 5 3600 and you want to upgrade your CPU. So let's say you want to upgrade your graphics card to a higher end one and you need a faster processor. Well, I mean, this one performs very similarly to the Ryzen 5 7600 from the AM5 platform, one of the fastest CPUs from the AM4 platform. And I mean, it performs very similar to the fastest one, which is the 5800X3D, and this one comes at a cheaper price. So I do think that is really good in terms of price to performance, and that's why it's going into my good tier, one level under the 9800X3D. And then we have the Ryzen 8000 series CPUs. It's not that no one cares, but they are trash. To be fair, they are not good CPUs. I wouldn't buy one of them. For the same price or even less, you can get faster CPUs in the market. So unless you want an integrated graphics card, so you want your CPU to be both a CPU and a graphics card at the same time, then I just don't see the point in buying these CPUs. So the Ryzen 8000 series is going into my trash tier, and recently I made a video on the 5 worst CPUs of 2024, and this was actually my number 1. So I just wouldn't buy it, honestly. I wouldn't recommend anyone buying it. But let me know how I did here. Maybe you prefer some launches, maybe you think the 40 Super series was a better launch than the 9000 X3D series, and that's completely valid if you think that, so let me know in the comment section. And if you're looking for personal PC help and you're thinking of buying a new computer, but you need some guidance because you don't know much about computers, then that's going to be the top link in the description. Right now, for this month, I am basically giving my personal PC help service for free. So again, that's the top link in the description. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next one.